For decades, the relationship between Israel and Iran has been marked by distrust and animosity. Before the 1979 Islamic Revolution, the two nations maintained relatively cordial ties. The Shah of Iran, viewed by the West as a bulwark against Soviet influence, found common ground with Israel in their shared security concerns. However, the revolution dramatically altered the geopolitical landscape. Ayatollah Khomeini, the supreme leader of the newly established Islamic Republic, denounced Israel as an illegitimate entity and vowed to support its destruction. This ideological clash, coupled with Israel's close relationship with the United States, positioned the two nations as staunch adversaries. Over the years, tensions have escalated through proxy conflicts, military buildups, and inflammatory rhetoric. The possibility of a direct military confrontation, while considered a worst-case scenario, remains a constant threat, casting a long shadow over the Middle East. Israel possesses one of the most technologically advanced militaries globally, honed by decades of conflict and a strategic imperative to maintain military superiority in a volatile region. Its air force, considered among the best in the world, boasts a fleet of modern fighter jets, including the F-35Y Adir, equipped with cutting-edge technology and capable of penetrating sophisticated air defense systems. Israel also maintains a formidable ground force, with a well-trained and battle-hardened army equipped with advanced tanks, armored vehicles, and artillery systems. Furthermore, Israel is a declared nuclear weapons state, believed to possess a sophisticated nuclear arsenal, though it maintains a policy of nuclear ambiguity, neither confirming nor denying its existence. This nuclear capability, shrouded in secrecy, adds a significant layer of deterrence to Israel's defense posture. Iran, while lagging behind Israel in terms of technological sophistication, compensates with its vast size, large population, and a military doctrine centered on asymmetric warfare. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, a branch of Iran's armed forces tasked with protecting the country's Islamic system, plays a pivotal role in projecting Iranian influence throughout the region. Iran has invested heavily in its ballistic missile program, developing a diverse arsenal capable of striking targets throughout the Middle East, including Israel. These missiles, while lacking the precision of their Western counterparts, pose a significant threat due to their range and potential payload. Moreover, Iran has cultivated a network of regional allies and proxies, such as Hezbollah in Lebanon and various Shia militias in Iraq and Syria. These groups, armed and trained by Iran, provide strategic depth and the capability to open multiple fronts in a potential conflict. In a hypothetical all-out war, the battlefields would extend beyond traditional land, air, and sea domains to encompass cyberspace, a realm where both nations possess sophisticated capabilities. Israel, a global leader in cybersecurity, could leverage its offensive cyber capabilities to disrupt critical Iranian infrastructure, potentially targeting its command and control systems, communication networks, and power grids. Iran, for its part, has demonstrated its cyber prowess in recent years, conducting disruptive cyber attacks against various adversaries, including financial institutions and government agencies. The cyber domain could become a critical battleground in any future conflict, potentially shaping the course of the war and impacting civilian populations. The international response to an Israel-Iran war would be swift and consequential, potentially drawing in global powers and reshaping existing alliances. The United States, Israel's staunchest ally, would likely provide military and logistical support to Israel, viewing an Iranian victory as detrimental to its interests in the region. Russia, while maintaining cordial relations with both countries, would face a complex dilemma, balancing its strategic interests in the Middle East with its desire to avoid a wider conflict. Other regional actors such as Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states would likely side with Israel, viewing Iran as a common threat. The conflict could potentially escalate into a regional war with devastating consequences for the entire Middle East. Israel and Iran's military doctrines reflect their respective strengths and strategic circumstances. Israel, facing the constant threat of conventional and asymmetric warfare, has adopted a doctrine emphasizing preemptive strikes, technological superiority, and rapid mobilization. Iran, on the other hand, has adopted a doctrine of asymmetric warfare, seeking to offset Israel's technological advantages by exploiting its vulnerabilities through unconventional tactics, such as ballistic missile attacks, swarm tactics using small boats, and cyber warfare. In a hypothetical conflict, Israel would likely aim to deliver a swift and decisive blow, crippling Iran's military capabilities and minimizing civilian casualties. Iran, conversely, would likely seek to prolong the conflict, inflicting maximum damage on Israeli infrastructure and morale, while rallying international condemnation against Israel's actions. Beneath the surface of overt military posturing lies a clandestine realm of espionage and covert operations where both nations have long been engaged in a shadow war. Israel's intelligence agency, the Mossad, is renowned for its operational effectiveness, conducting daring raids, targeted assassinations, and sabotage operations deep inside enemy territory. Iran, too, has a sophisticated intelligence apparatus, operating through the Ministry of Intelligence and the IRGC's Quds Force, responsible for extraterritorial operations. These agencies have been implicated in numerous covert actions, including assassinations, bombings, and support for terrorist groups. In the event of an all-out war, this shadow war would intensify, with both sides seeking to disrupt each other's war efforts, gather intelligence, and sow discord within their adversaries' ranks. Section 8. The price of conflict, economic and humanitarian costs. The economic and humanitarian costs of an Israel-Iran war would be catastrophic for both nations and the wider region. Israel, despite its military prowess, would face a barrage of missile attacks targeting its population centers and critical infrastructure. Iran, in turn, would suffer significant damage from Israeli airstrikes and cyber attacks, crippling its economy and potentially leading to widespread civilian casualties. The conflict would trigger a global energy crisis, as Iran could disrupt oil shipments through the Strait of Hormuz, a vital waterway for global energy supplies. The humanitarian crisis would be immense, with millions displaced from their homes, facing food shortages and lacking access to essential services. Section 9. The fog of war. Predicting the unpredictable. Predicting the outcome of an all-out war between Israel and Iran is a complex and uncertain endeavor, fraught with variables and potential for miscalculation. The duration, intensity, and ultimate victor would depend on numerous factors, including the effectiveness of each side's military strategies, the level of international intervention, and the resilience of their respective home fronts. The fog of war, with its inherent chaos and unpredictability, could lead to unintended consequences, potentially escalating the conflict beyond initial calculations and drawing in other regional or global powers. Section 10. The world after geopolitical shifts and uncertain futures. The geopolitical landscape of the Middle East and the world would be irrevocably altered in the aftermath of an Israel-Iran war. The balance of power in the region would shift, potentially leading to new alliances, heightened tensions, and a resurgence of extremism. The already volatile Middle East could descend further into chaos, with ripple effects felt globally through refugee crises, economic instability, and the proliferation of weapons and ideologies of hate. The war's legacy would likely be one of destruction, displacement, and deep-seated animosity, hindering prospects for peace and stability for generations to come. Section 11. The path to peace. Is there a way forward? Despite the seemingly intractable nature of the Israel-Iran conflict, the pursuit of peace remains an imperative, albeit an elusive one. Dialogue, diplomacy, and a commitment to de-escalation are essential to avert the horrors of war and forge a more secure future for all parties involved. International efforts to revive the Iran nuclear deal, addressing concerns about Iran's nuclear program while fostering economic cooperation, could serve as a starting point for broader diplomatic engagement. Ultimately, a lasting solution requires addressing the root causes of the conflict, including historical grievances, ideological differences, and security concerns. Thanks for watching.